Hello, my name is Dr. Jesse Heligso. Apologize in advance, I'm feeling a little under the weather. So I'm applying for the Zone 1 school board district position. I'm actually a native Oregonian. I grew up in Astoria, and I'm a product of the Oregon public school system, which allowed me to better my life, continue on, get a good quality secondary education and post secondary education. And it actually led to me becoming a professor. And I would actually taught dual enrollment in the past. And I currently am back in Oregon after leaving academia, and I work for the state doing education data research and analysis. Um, so I have two children. My oldest is currently in elementary school here in West Salem, and having taught public administration for years, and the value of public service, I thought this would be a good opportunity to give back to my community and provide my knowledge and expertise on this interim basis until a more permanent person could be found. Um, so to answer your questions, question number one: what are the three immediate priorities the board needs to address in the coming months? Obviously, the $32 million budget shortfall would be the most immediate concern, and the current budgeting process with that. I'd say that's probably the top three priorities, but that's clearly a very large issue. Along part of that is involved with the teacher contract negotiations and the approval of the new teacher contracts. Is also going to be is a major issue facing the district at the moment. Um, and in a larger context, one of the sticking points being the class sizes, which is a larger long-term issue that does need to be resolved, particularly with our national teacher shortage. And what we could do to attract more people into teaching and reducing our class sizes and balancing our budget out to meet students' needs. Um, what does board governance mean to me, and how would I contribute to the board's collective responsibility for the well-being of Salem Keizer schools? So, board governance to me, I'm interested in doing this because it's a way for me to give back to my community. Public service is what I've done my whole life as a professor, and now working for the state as a public servant. Um, and this is just another way to help improve my children's future and and help maintain and improve the education as a whole for this district and in the state of Oregon. Um, and it's just a way of helping to guarantee the best education for our students that we can, given the limits on budget and, and providing the services needed to our students, meeting them where they are and making sure that they get the resources necessary to be given opportunities in life. Um, so, no, question number three: what do you know about our pending budget challenges, and what will be required of the board to ensure that it is managed responsibly? Obviously, as I said, $32 million budget shortfall, coupled with the contract renegotiations, is a very serious issues going on. Um, and within the larger context, once again, of that is the state funding formula for how our school systems are funded, and that the serious deficits that it's causing for the Salem Keizer school district in particular. Salem faces many unique challenges, being the capital, with local government issues and not getting the support necessary from the state that we should be being given. Um, so managing it responsibly, we need to prioritize our student needs. We just need to make sure that the the reductions that we make moving forward have the smallest impact possible on our students, particularly our students who don't necessarily have the advantages in lives that all students have. So our special education students, our low socioeconomic status, making sure that they still are getting the resources needed to help them better themselves. Um, Making sure we're not losing funding for after school programs as much as possible. Um, but it's going to take some difficult decisions to be made. I've not been looking over the entire budget yet, and I look forward to actually diving into it and seeing what we can do to prioritize the needs of our students while also facing the realities of the budget shortfall that we're facing. Um, what strengths of character or expertise will you add to the board during an important and challenging period? The, uh, I I taught dual enrollment for 6 years, where I'd go to the local disadvantaged high schools in Florida, where I lived at the time, and taught dual enrollment programs for U.S. government. So I'd show up to the schools so that the students wouldn't have to travel to see me, and they could still get opportunities to get some college credit while still in high school, even if they lacked transportation or any other ability to access higher education and dual enrollment. Um, I have a PhD in public policy research and analysis. I specialize in healthcare and education policy. I am an expert on education policy, and particularly with Oregon's education data and policy, as that's what I currently work for the state. Is my day job, is I analyze the state of Oregon's education data, connected data from K-12 through higher ed into workforce to see which programs help children achieve their potential and get better lives. And I have extensive expertise in the area of education policy, and I think it'd be a very valuable attribute to give to the school board on this interim basis until election can be held and somebody can more permanently fill the role. So thank you for your time, and I will hope to hear back from you shortly.